With 75 more days till the 2020 presidential parliamentary elections, you are on your election headquarters. Welcome to the M News. The Vice President on Tuesday inaugurated the Oti Regional House of Chiefs in Dambai. The inauguration had become necessary following the creation of the region last year after a referendum in 2017. Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia urged members of the House of Chiefs to uphold the law in order to bring development to their people.
We have made significant progress since the advent of the Constitution of the Fourth Republic because of the guarantees enshrined for chieftaincy. Ever since the government assumed office in January 2017, we have taken steps to strengthen the institution of chieftaincy. Government recognizes that in order to ensure the success of the program of social and economic transformation that was put before the Ghanaian people, we have to do a lot. It is important that we bring the traditional role of our chiefs into the modern constitutional setup under which we govern our country. Unfortunately, one of the major setbacks to our nation's socio-economic development has also been chieftaincy disputes. Such disputes have resulted sometimes in full-blown conflicts, threats to our nation's peace and stability, destruction of properties, loss of lives, closure of educational and health facilities, and separation of family.
Now, the Electoral Commission says not more than 700 people will be allowed at one polling station on election day, and in places where voters exceed this number, voters will be categorized into groups. Deputy Chairperson of the Commission, Dr. Bosman Eric Asare, explains this is part of the Commission's measures to reduce queues and not put people at risk of COVID-19. He was speaking at the Start Ghana Election 2020 Grant Partners Learning event. There's more in this report by Nicholas Yamwa.
In less than 75 days, Ghana would be going to the polls to elect a new president. The first time Ghana will be voting in a pandemic. There is bound to be long queues, a phenomenon the Electoral Commission says it wants to avoid. Dr. Bosman Asare is Deputy Chairperson of the Commission.
Ahead of the 2020 elections, the Commission is not relenting. We are still strengthening and ensuring that everything is done properly. In 2016, the threshold for each polling station was a maximum of 850. In other words, no polling station exceeded 850 in 2016. But because of the pandemic in 2020, this is what the Commission is doing. The Commission is saying that the maximum that will be allowed at each polling station will be 700. In other words, this registration we undertook. Any registration center that has more than 700 people, we are going to split them into A and B.
For students and security personnel who registered at posts different from their original voting centers, transfer will be done next month.
Transfers will be allowed for only students and for those who are serving in the security agencies. Because during the registration, some security personnel from Accra were policing the registration in other parts of the country. The transfer will be allowed for all other security agencies similarly situated. And apart from that, some of the students, we also noticed that they registered when they were in their schools. So transfers are limited. And this transfer, the Commission is looking at the transfer taking place. Transfers normally go with trust. They will take place from October 20th to October 25th, tentatively.
A couple of months ago, the Electoral Commission of Ghana defied contrary views to compile a new voters register, which is currently being exhibited. Some chaotic scenes, including gunshots, were recorded during the registration exercise. Executive Secretary of the Peace Council, George Amo, says so far 16 electoral violence hotspots have been identified.
We are linking up closely with the Center for CDD, Center for Democratic Governance and Development, the CDD. And what we are doing is to go to 16 hotspots, identified 16 hotspots, where we are setting up what we have termed peace mediation committees. These committees are going to be a kind of an early warning and response mechanism in these areas so that they can relay information timeously for effective responses to be given.
Meanwhile, the police service says it is battle ready for violence both physically and online. DCOP Dr. Saibu Gariba is on the Ghana Police Service National Election Task Force.
The cybercrime unit of the Ghana Police Service, in conjunction with our sister security agencies, are working to actually ensure that we have the space, the capability to manage online and cyber crimes. That one is being done. And aside that, we have taken all issues into context, whether it is cybercrime, whether it is direct or physical. I can assure you that the strategy for this election is covering all that issues, and we'll be able to manage that.
Nicholas Eko Yamo's report for Joy News.
Away from the elections, 2 young people are bracing the odds to make ends meet in spite of the numerous economic challenges that COVID-19 has brought to bear on nations and individuals. 23-year-old Wisdom Nano has managed to attract investors to support him in his new delivery service business, while 20-year-old Sabina Santi has upgraded from just styling hers to crafting wig caps. Annabella Ohenijan tells their stories in the following report.
The Minister of Health has confirmed 2 cases of COVID-19.
In the darkness and the sense of gloom that's enveloped the world through the coronavirus pandemic, 2 young Ghanaians have found some light, creating for themselves livelihoods. "23-year-old Wisdom Nano, 2020 graduate of the University of Ghana, started a delivery service business in 2019 as a way of solving a problem on campus. But the spread of the virus and the lockdown made him more creative about the opportunities and realities around his delivery service.
I started Wego with my partner called Wilfred Someni. Back on campus, I realized a lot of students were facing challenges on how to get items and then mostly food from within campus to their hostels and outside campus. So through my personal observations, I realized that there was not a proper delivery system within the campus community that connects students to most of these vendors on campus and outside. So I engaged a few friends about it, and then finally met my current co-founder, and we had a lot of talks around it, and we felt it was a good venture to explore.
Then there's Sabina Santi, a 20-year-old student of the Ghana Institute of Journalism. She used the boredom from the lockdown to tap into the inner recesses of her skills. This skill has become a small business. Now, through the power of social media, Sabina sells to clients all over the country every day.
When the president gave the announcement that we should stay in the house because of the coronavirus, I was just in the house, like watching TV, eating and becoming fat. So I just felt like I should do something. And I kept asking myself what I should do. And then the idea just came because before I used to sell hair bundles, just the hair bundles to people. And I was like, if you can sell hair bundles to people, why don't you make the wig caps yourself so you can earn extra money for that? And I felt it was a good idea. So I just made some calls to some hairstylists I know, and they agreed to teach me.
There's been job losses and many people in the world despondent. These two, however, are different.
COVID in its sense, I think, collapsed a lot of businesses. So we can't, make merry around that, right? So, things happen, and then humanity have to rise up to make changes, right? Rise up to the occasion and create other opportunities for themselves. So we are quite fortunate that our business was in line with COVID-19. So that's a good gain for us.
The whole COVID thing, we all know it's not a good thing. It's not a good disease or sickness. But because of COVID, we got to stay at home, and I got to learn a trade, something that nobody can take from me. I make a lot of money from it because I charge 50 cedis for making a closure wig cap. and 100 cedis for making a frontal wear cap. So if I'm to get like about 10 customers even within the week, that's a lot of money.
So they say when life throws lemons at you, you make lemonade out of them. Indeed, these two youngsters have used these hard times to their advantage when many couldn't. Annabella Ohenijan's reports for Joy News.
And it's not too late to start something on your own. Finally, 5 Ghanaians are representing the country in the 2020 African Drought Championship. The tournament is taking place online because of the coronavirus pandemic. Here's Love FM's Kwesi Deborah with more.
The Ghana Drafts Federation, based in Amakum, Ghana's biggest draft playing hub, started preparing players for international games back in 2012. The team's first international tournament took place in Malawi in 2018, where Mike Lebu won bronze. The team was supposed to participate in the World Draft Championship in California when the country went into lockdown. This year's game will last 5 weeks. The team leader, Edmond Christo Usu, has been taking the players through the rudiments of the online game.
But going into the game, we see the preparation has become very tough for me. I'm the only person who is training the boys on the use of the computer, though they know how to play physically. But the use of the computer is different from when you're playing it physically. So I have to log in all the members and I have to train them how to use the mouse, how to play the game itself with a computer. So this one has become a very tough work for me. But with the grace of God, I've tried, and for now we have some guys who are helping. They are also committed to put up their best in order to play the game.
Bronze medalist Mike Lebu is confident the team will win big in this year's competition.
This is the first time I'm using the mouse online game, but because of the education goes, so I know how to use the mouse and what you call it, the computer, so I don't have problem on this. But one thing I have right now, the game to start, then I will use my mind. This game help us to open mind, help us to calculate your mind. So it's a
President of the Ghana Drafts Federation, Nanobia Friye, says his outfit will be scouting players nationwide to reinforce their place in Africa.
He said the whole Ghana.
We will be recruiting players in the regions and train them for Africa so we can win the competition. Reporting for Joy News, Kwesi Deborah.
Well, that's it for the news. Joseph joins me in a bit as we review the newspapers. Stay with us. Welcome to the review segment of our show. Joseph Akable is here. We've got the newspapers. Good morning, Joseph.
Good morning, Mavi. How are you doing?
I'm good. Are we monitoring the sexual rounds of the police? That's our assignment. I said it yesterday. Everybody watching us as well, because we want them to do a good job in the 2020 election.
I saw a police officer's post on Facebook that when he got home in the evening, the wife was asking him about whether what he had heard the commander had said was true. He said he didn't say anything, he just walked out to the room. Because he knows that someone will be hiding behind that to deny him now.
Well, thank you for reducing your sexual rounds this morning. Is it? No, this was on the holiday, right? The Monday.
Yeah.
This is day 3.
Day 3.
Yeah, we're counting. Yeah. We keep
so
you in our prayers.
Ordinarily at day 3, you should have recorded at least 25 rounds. At least by now, you should be doing 2 or 3 rounds. Yeah.
Oh, Joseph, you know, you've been swerving my NSMQ trivial questions, okay? And today, instead of wait till the end, I thought, let me ask you, what did you study back in high school?
General arts.
General arts. Yeah, but you still did a bit of science. But this one is very simple. There is a scientific answer to the question, and then there's maybe layman's, so you can choose. Okay. So here's the question for today, our trivial. It's a Physics Wednesday. Okay, that's the theme for today. So why is it easier to walk on sand with flat shoes than high heels? That's the question on the screen. Don't look at my phone. I don't have the answer here.
Okay, so...
clock is ticking.
Okay, I can think of a mathematical answer and I can think of a scientific answer. Which one do you want?
Oh, it's a physics question, so whichever.
So, okay, the common sense answer is that with the flat shoes, the pressure is spread over an area, so it's easier to move. For the mathematical answer, I remember when you're calculating pressure, it's equal to force over area.
Hey!
So, I'm not done. Let me answer. I'm not done.
No, you're making. I'm actually very impressed.
I'm not done.
Yes,
so
sir.
it actually means that pressure is directly proportional to area. I.e., when the pressure is increasing, it means that the area is going down. It's like 1/2. You know, 1/2 is bigger than 1/3. And so because you are calculating pressure as force over area, if the area is big, the pressure is less. And so that is how come when you have the pointed one, it is difficult to work because there is a lot of pressure at a particular point.
I am absolutely blown away.
Clap for me.
Yeah. But you didn't finish the first one, the layman's, because you gave for the
Yeah,
flats.
the layman is spread across. The pressure is
Uh-huh.
spread, and so it's easier to move. And so
Is it the pressure that is spread across or what?
So, you know...
Use the right term. I want to give you 10/10.
The force, because it is your weight that is on the... Oh, I've answered the question.
Master, don't confuse me. Go
I've
ahead.
answered the question
You said-
mathematically.
That I get.
Yes.
But
and
I
the
said...
common sense answer I'm explaining is that you're a human being and you are walking, and because of your weight level on the shoe, so if it's a flat surface, it is spread across.
What is spread across?
The force or the pressure or... Yeah, the force.
Okay.
It's spread across it's spread across an area, so it's easier to move.
Okay.
Whereas
I'll still give it to you. What I was expecting was the weights.
The weights. Okay.
Exactly.
The weights, yeah.
So, but I'll still give. I think you've. Oh wow! Impressive.
I guess this one was easy. So, I mean, you can try it to Rick. Hopefully, it's not watching. He would have.
Okay.
He'll repeat my answer.
You know, yesterday, Mani raised some issues. They said they've been getting some complaints from the scientists at Noguchi. Our colleague Joseph Opoku Gakpo has been following this story closely. So he joins us as we do the review, and then he will be giving us the background to it and where we've come from, where we are with this issue. Let's just say good morning to him. Let's see if he can answer the question that you just did with the trivial. Good morning, Gakpo.
Mavi, good morning. How are you doing?
I am very well, thank you. Listen, have you been watching?
No, not really. I just tuned in.
Okay, so you didn't hear Joseph.
What have I missed?
Okay. I really hope that you missed what we talked about 2 minutes ago.
It's unfair to ask Joseph that question. Joseph is a proper science guy.
All right.
I mean, I think we should request another question for him.
Really?
Maybe at another point. This one, I don't think we should give this question to Joseph. This question is for the art students. Joseph is a proper science student.
Oh, we're doing our own National Science and Maths quiz. You know, the 1/8 stage begins today. We're mounting the pressure, so I'm putting you guys on the spots. But I'm afraid that this is a very easy question for you.
It's very easy, actually. Let's not ask him.
We the students of Tia Media Senior High School, we are smart folks, so...
Okay. Why is it easier to walk on... Why is it easier to walk on sand with flat shoes than high heels?
It's probably because... no, show me the question again. I think I missed bits of it.
Okay.
Please show me the question again.
It's on your screen. Can you see it?
So why is it easier to walk on sand with flat shoes than high heels?
Yes, sir.
It's probably because there's a very low chance of sand entering the shoe when you are wearing a flat rather than a high heel. I'm breaking it down for the ordinary people. I don't want to go scientific. So
we'll let Dr. Kaufman mark your answer. Dr. Elsie Kaufman.
I think you've been spending too much time with the parliamentarians.
I'm breaking it down to make it easily comprehensible.
Okay, yes, sir.
So,
we appreciate.
Yes. So it's as simple as that.
Okay, all right.
Is it the same question you asked Akable? Did you get it right?
Yes, please, I did. I got it right. I answered scientifically and mathematically, unlike you.
No, what was your, Akable, what was your answer? What was your answer?
Meet me after class. Meet me after class.
All right, let's do the newspapers. We'll come back to you on the Imani issue. Opoku Gagbo, stay with us. Let's do the Daily Graphic newspaper front page of the Graphic. President presents 10,000 birds for distribution to hospitals. EC to split polling stations with over 700 registered voters. Top-up pensions of 2020 retirees. That's the Trades Union Congress calling on government to take liability for the shortage in the payments of lump sums to pensioners who started retiring from this year under the new pensions law. The Secretary General of the TUC, Dr. Yauba, made the call in an interview with the Daily Graphic in Ho on the sidelines of the Volta OT Regional Council Forum on Pensions. He said it was the stance of the labor union that the government topped up the shortage on pensioners' past credits and second-tier contributions computed under the new law. Let's check out the center spread of the paper. Is a feature, environment and development, key issues for Ghana, one that Joseph Opoku Gakpo will be interested in. On the back page, expanded paragliding field inaugurated. The Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture has inaugurated the newly expanded paragliding field at Etsibie in the eastern region to accommodate more tourists. And then 7,000 ghost names deleted from government payroll. How often do we hear this? We are always deleting ghost names, but somehow the ghost names keep appearing. That's why they are ghost names. Ghosts never go away. Let's do the Ghanaian Times. Front page of the Times. Effort to resolve ongoing strike by nurses, midwives. Government calls crunch meeting today. NLC, National Labour Commission, Fair Wages Salaries Commission, other allied health associations to be in attendance. Court orders EC to register NDC parliamentary candidate for Cape Coast. I think one other headline I missed in the Daily Graphic is the story of a man allegedly stabbing his girlfriend and then also committing suicide. That's also alleged. I'm just not comfortable about the way we're reporting it as if it's just what it is, because from what was reported, there were no eyewitnesses. So this is a man, a lady that has been found dead with some cats, and then a man who's been found hanging. You get what I mean?
Okay, so it's difficult to tell
if it was suicide, if it was a man stabbing girlfriend.
Or if it was the case that there was actually an assailant who came in and finished and set up the crime scene that
Exactly. Way. It just, if you read the story, and you can go to myjournline.com just to make it easier, the full story is there as our colleague in the Central Region, filed that report for us. There are a lot of missing links, and we hope that the police will not just tell us that a man has been stabbed and committed suicide and then follow that trend, but it will be thoroughly investigated with a very open mind so we can find culprits and find out exactly also what happened in the situation. Joseph, continue.
I'll start with the front page of the Daily Guide. It says, Imam fires Mahama over Zungo mortuaries, and Ghana VW is apotroka. Second-hand better is coming from John Mahama. That is according to the Daily Guide. Okay, so NPP gurus trade blows also on the front page, and more goodies coming for students. And Nana hands over 10,000 hospital beds to the Ministry of Health. The back page of the Daily Guide has this story about the police chasing Suarez for citizenship cheating, and Kotoko EPL side strike deal. That's the big news in the Daily Guide this morning. You can find details on the back page. It's a very interesting story. The center spread has Akufo-Addo has done very well from Wendy Shea, and Shatta Wale featured in GES approved creative arts textbook. Yes, we are told that this follows his recent major feature. The dancehall artist has been captured in lesson 4 of the textbook, which describes him in a short biography. It talks about his date of birth, his most popular song, through which he became famous. That is the Dancehall King song. And so kids in school will be learning about the Dancehall King.
And I hope that our artists, including Shatta himself, will take a cue. Because, once the young people are learning about you, they are also soaking in everything that you're dishing out. So when they are messing up, they will remember that this is how high we've rated you, so that even in our schools, the young boys and girls are learning about you.
Yeah.
Give them something good to learn about.
They have to be good role models.
Yeah, exactly. But this is good. I like it. I like the initiative.
So those are the major stories in the center spread. We can quickly do the front page of the Ghanaian Observer. Akufo-Addo impacts over 2.5 million Ghanaian youth. An NPP exposes NDC over collapsed banks. Drivers' union kick against legalization of Okada. And Vice President Bawumia inaugurates Oti Northern Region House of Chiefs. And top Muslim cleric blast John Mahama over mortuaries for Zongo promise. The back page has Fulham to make approach to sign Daniel Amate, and Ghana or England. Porter trust Lamptey's choice. It's the battle over Tariq Lamptey, the Brighton defender. GFS could donate monthly allowance to offensive accident victims, also on the back page of the Ghanaian Observer. The center spread has this ECOWAS story involving the president. Let's build united, prosperous, stable, secure ECOWAS, and some other stories. You can find the details in the center spread of the Ghanaian Observer. Mavi.
All right, let's do the Daily Dispatch front page. 50% of Ghanaian men are impotent, according to a medical of somebody screamed. Are you part of the 50%?
Yeah, I heard the shout too.
There's the Executive Director of Sexual Health Foundation, Dr. Samuel Amanama, on the front page of the paper with this headline. It's one that we certainly have to get into. Maybe Joseph Opoku Gakpo can help us with an explanation. There's a focus on Professor Obu's Black Men Prostate Health, and then NPP Regional Secretary bites NPP MP blood flows. NPP Regional Secretary bites NPP MP blood flows. You're interested, so I'll give you a bit. It says the NPP's Regional Secretary Charles Bissiou has allegedly inflicted multiple wounds on the hand of the Member of Parliament for Takwan Swayam constituency in the Western region by biting. According to mynewsgh.com sources, the NPP regional executives were meeting with all the party's parliamentary candidates in the region in Kensington Hotel in Takoradi when the incident happened. It is gathered that there was a misunderstanding between the MP and the regional party executive, but the latter, in the region confusion, grabbed the MP's hand and gave him multiple bites, which left him bleeding profusely.
The Daily Guide has that story, except it says, in the process, Mr. Bissiou was reported to have, quote, chewed the middle finger of the right hand of the MP. And so, biting and chewing. But the Daily Guide says
biting, there's a chewing. Is
yeah.
there blood there too?
Yes, there's blood. The Daily Guide says Mr. Duka confirmed the incident and said it happened at a meeting which had Peter McMahon and Lord Comey present. He explained that prior to the meeting about 3 weeks ago, he complained to the regional executives about the fact that Mr. Bissiou had been supporting an independent candidate in the Takwa Swayam constituency against him and said he should be talked to. He goes on and said that he raised, and so he raised the issue. So yesterday at the meeting, I made the same complaint that there's an independent candidate in Takwa who is being sponsored. After my presentation, I went to sit down. But before the meeting came to an end, Lord Comey asked Bissiou to react to the issue I raised in 3 minutes. Bissiou went for the microphone and said, I used to be his friend, but I visited him at his office one day and told him that he should not believe the president and allow people to do galamsey or illegal mining. Mr. Duka said those present were all surprised at the comment Mr. Bissiou had made because he was pitching him against the president. The story continues on page 6. Should I go there or we are tired?
Master, we are interested.
Lord Comey went for the microphone and said, this is not the issue we want to discuss. Mr. Duka said Mr. Bissiou was asked to sit down, and instead of going to sit down on his chair, he was going to where Mr. Duka was sitting, fuming and threatening to beat him. He was coming to me as he shouted, I'll beat you. So my chairman was even asking me to get up because he was coming to me. Lo and behold, Bissiou came to me and threw a blow at me, and in defense, I also threw one at him. But my finger went into his mouth and he chewed it.
Chai.
I had a deep cut at the middle finger of my right hand. I later went to the Jemima Hospital for treatment. And so...
But he didn't go to the police? No report at the police?
No report about the police from the story so far.
Okay.
But that's not a movie, it's two men allegedly fighting.
Sounds like a movie. Sounds like one of those Kumawood.
Yeah, but I'm just wondering...
showdown.
I'm wondering how he made the punch, because I'm not sure. They said a middle finger.
Yeah,
so
it got stuck in, you know.
Yeah, how are you punching, then the middle finger gets stuck in someone's mouth? I think it's also a mystery we have to unravel.
That's why I said it's one of those movies.
Yeah, but very unfortunate. I mean, if it actually happened, as the Daily Guide is reporting, that, I mean, adults would have to trade blows to resolve a party disagreement. I mean, they should be able to have a discussion and agree.
Absolutely. That's why they're adults. Yeah. So this issue about 50% of Ghanaian men being impotent, and some of you are questioning yourselves if you're part of this 50%. Okay, so Dr. Samuel Amanama, who is also sexopathologist, made the revelation in a speech during a symposium on challenges of sexual dysfunction in men. Okay, so let's see. I want the meat. So he said this doctor has revealed that about 50% of men between the ages of 40. Joseph, how old are you?
I'm less than 30.
Okay. 40 and 70 in Ghana are suffering from erectile dysfunction. The causes, according to the consultant urologist, attributed to people having diseases like diabetes and hypertension unknowingly. He explained what erectile dysfunction is, but you know, if you want to know, just grab the paper. Joseph Opoku Gakpo is back with us on Zoom. Joseph, I'm not sure if you're following the issue with the Member of Parliament for Takwan Swaim and the biting and the what the Daily Guide described, chewing and biting and blows. You have wild sources. What do you know about this issue?
You know, over the last a little over a month since Parliament has been on break, looks like there's been too many incidents involving members of Parliament that Speaker Reverend Professor Michael Oku will not be excited about. And maybe we'll hear from him when eventually the House resumes sitting, right from MPs scandalizing courts and being summoned for contempt charges to MPs exchanging blows with their colleague party people. You know, the sad bit of the exchanging blows bit is we'll never be able to get to the bottom of it because these are two senior party people involved. And chances are that it will never get to the police station. There will be no investigation. The full details will remain under wrap and they would find a way to settle it one way or the other. There are bits of the stories that I've heard from some sources that it wasn't just the biting, but there were actually incidents of one hitting the other and the other responding to the hitting in the form of slaps, which eventually then there was then the attempt by Mr. Bisil to then throw a hand at Mr. Duka. Mr. Duka responded in equal measure, and then there was the lifting of the hand, which then resulted in the biting. But from what I'm told, the MP is recuperating fast. He's doing okay. We wait to see how things will pan out. And I expect that after all these incidents, you know, these are honorable members of Parliament, as we would usually call them, and as they would usually insist that they are called. We get these from very honorable members.
Are you, Joseph, we're here. Thank you very much for the updates. Very disappointing, by the way. The final newspaper, nurses strike impedes healthcare delivery. Over 2.5 million youth positively impacted by Akufo-Addo government, according to youth agencies. Nurses at police, 37 military hospitals not on strike. There was a statement issued by the National Ambulance Service, the northern sector. Joseph, I don't know if that was verified, but that was a statement talking about how patients were turned away. Hospitals deliberately saying that, oh, another hospital wants to receive the patients, gives them the impression that they can take them to another facility only for them to get there, and then they will also refuse to receive the patient. And that's all because of the strike that was called by the nurses and the other groupings. So it's biting really hard in the northern region, per the statement that I read from the ambulance service. And they talk about a woman who was due to get a cesarean session, and for like 2 hours, she was still in the ambulance because they didn't know where to take her. The facility has simply refused to receive that patient. So this is really disturbing. This is what we wanted to avoid.
Yeah, we understand they are supposed to meet with the relevant actors today, including the Deputy Minister we spoke to yesterday. I mean, the point we're making was about this impact on the ordinary people who need healthcare. And so it's important that they've been able to get them to the table. And we hope that they'll be able to reach an amicable solution just to ensure that the nurses, as they stay at post and render the services that they are supposed to render. I mean, unlike other professions where, like teachers, where when you go on strike, you can extend the academic calendar. You can't do the same for the health service. I mean, when someone dies, the person is dead.
You can't make a statement. You can't call a press briefing and extend somebody's life.
Yeah, the person is gone for good. And some suffer damages that they never recover from. And so, I mean, we wish them well in their negotiation, and hopefully they're able to resolve this immediately.
And we hope they won't do law at the table, because they're a group of people who are quite upset. Yeah. And what they are asking for, if you listen closely, is legitimate. So we hope that they will go to the table with open minds and not do, you know, that's...
On the other side, too, the nurses, in terms of their request too, they should also be open to acknowledging the times that we find ourselves in.
Absolutely.
I mean, the fact of the matter is that they've been the greatest beneficiaries of this COVID era. The income taxes have been taken off for them. They've been given some allowance, among other things. And so, yes, they may have deserve what they are asking for, but they should also be mindful of the times we find ourselves in and try and reach a compromise. Not those pledges that we've seen in times past. We understand the number of demands they are making. If some could be, there could be an agreement that it could be rolled out, I mean, in an honest manner, such that, I mean, there's no problem going forward. It helps all of us. We just need them in the health facilities to work.
We need state actors to be also very honest and not pull issues so long. You see, it comes back and bites at you. But Joseph Opoku Gakpo, you're going to help us understand some issues that the Imani is raising. They say that they're getting complaints from scientists at the Noguchi Memorial Institute for Medical Research. Help us understand all these issues, Joseph.
In the next few minutes, but just to begin, the reason why it's more difficult working on sand with a heel than a flat.
No, Joseph, what's happening?
Of the weight of the body would usually sit generally.
Sorry, let me ask our producer a call. Are we live or we are playing back?
No, we are live. We are live. We are just
we are asking you about Imani. You've gone to do your research and you are now answering the question. This is not how the science and math quiz takes place.
Then the question was bad. On a regular day, when you are in a flat, the weight will sit generally on the flat, so then it's easier walking. But when you are on a hill, the weight will sit just on the hill, so it's more difficult walking in sand, wearing a heel than a flat. So for the records, I'm a science student, so I really understand this as in the best possible way, and that's the most reasonable explanation you can give for that particular situation. Now let me move on. Can I move on now? Now that we are done
I said that you've been spending too much time with the politicians in Parliament. You see what you're doing right now?
No, I just answered your question. That's all I did. I just answered your question. The connection wasn't helpful earlier, but now it's stable, so I've answered your question. Now to the issues that Imani is raising. The testing that has been done at the Kotoka International Airport when people are coming in, Imani says he's been digging further into that. What we know is that a firm which is based in Singapore, Frontier Healthcare Services, has actually been given the contract to build the testing center, go ahead and do the testing, operate it, and recoup their sums. And that's how come the $150 charge is being put on individuals who are coming in and are doing their tests. Now, Imani says he's been doing some digging on who this, this firm, what exactly they are. And they found that here in Ghana, they were incorporated just on the 3rd of June, 2020. And it's actually a company that's owned by a number of entities, including entities which are based in the tax haven, that's the island of Dominica, which they think is quite worrying. Just to get on to their specific concerns, they say that there's a situation where, particularly when you look at the Health Institutions and Facilities Act 2011, it's very clear that before any institution can go ahead and actually undertake any clinical or biomedical services in the country, it has to be licensed by the Health Facilities Regulatory Agency of Ghana, HEFRA. According to Imani, their checks have shown that at the time that the head of the virology department at the Noguchi Memorial Institute, that's Professor William Ampofo, began a process to actually validate the said testing that they'll be doing at the Kotoka International Airport, HEFRA hadn't given the approval.
Okay.
And for Imani, that is almost illegal because then no health operation should be undertaken, especially when the claim is that this is a novel, state-of-the-art, new technology that's being used to do the testing. But apart from the said claimed violation of the Health Institutions and Facilities Act, the claim being made by Imani again is that there's been the involvement of personnel at Noguchi in doing the necessary testing and going through the processes to test this particular antigen technology, which is being used in doing the testing. But Noguchi is not being paid anything. And when you check the records, there is no auditing trail or payment as far as Noguchi's participation is concerned. Although their personnel, their expertise, and their students have been involved in the processes to get the necessary approval for this particular entity to go ahead and operate. And then the third point that they're raising is that there's an ethical issue that's being raised, because for any such technology that's said to be novel, the regulations are clear that there needs to be an approval by the ethical review authorities at the institution where the testing is being done. In this case, Noguchi, before any such processes commence. But Imani says from their checks, that said ethical review authority at Noguchi did not go ahead and approve these processes before Professor William Ampofo gone ahead to do the validation. And Imani describes the whole process of validation as an off-site exercise, which exactly is not fully recorded in the books as far as the Noguchi Memorial Institute is concerned. So they're calling for a few things, including requesting that we should have a situation where Noguchi goes into an agreement with the Frontier Health Services Limited, so that while they are using their personnel for these processes, Noguchi also benefits. And more importantly, that the ethical approvals and the licensing that are required before these testings can be done should actually it's a process that we should go back to before the firm continues its operations. Okay. Right. Meanwhile, the testing continues.
Okay, just rather quickly, has there been official government reaction or a statement after Imani raised those issues?
Not yet. In fact, all through late yesterday, we've been checking with the officials at the Health Ministry trying to get a response. And all you get is that everyone says they'll do their checking and get back to you. So we'll do the necessary follow-up.
All right. Thank you very much. Joseph Opoku Gakpo is our colleague. He's usually our parliamentary correspondent. All right, Joseph, right there. Before we go, it's a belated birthday to our colleague Peter Senu, who is our correspondent in the OT region. We missed it yesterday, Peter, but we're making it up. Belated birthday. I hope that you had a blast today, but hey, continue the birthday celebration. Who says it should be just one day, 22nd? You can continue on the 23rd. So our colleague Peter Senu there, happy birthday to you, though belated. And I would like to acknowledge the sponsors of my shirts, House of Kings. You can find them. They are in Achimota, they are in East Legon, Hacho, or the Westlands Road. They are in many places. So kindly call the number and get them to deliver. They have your size as well. House of Kings providing me with my shirts on the show. Joseph Akablea, get your shirt from House of Kings, okay?
I'll be glad.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. And no question for Oreku today. I mean,
no.
I dealt with the question extensively.
Yeah, hands down. Hands down.
Just as I was always promising, I delivered. So no science and maths.
But listen, Oreku is actually fantastic. He's brilliant.
We can always pull back his first response. I mean,
but he still did. He did good.
We can pull back and
he did good with the.
Can pull back and play the first few seconds.
Is it the bed
the
issue?
First few seconds.
Oh, he introduced the conductor. You know, he gave me some scientific.
Round. Meanwhile, I have a question for you tomorrow, so I'll bring it tomorrow.
Who says you can ask the?
I will ask.
The quiz mistress. Have you heard anybody ask Dr. Kaufman a question?
Dr. Kaufman is capable of answering. He's not complaining and questioning people and stopping them.
Don't tell. Have you seen any of the contestants ask her a question?
We are not contestants here, but you ask us questions.
I am still the quiz mistress. And that's why I'm announcing that Oreku will come up with sports in a little bit. Stay with us. You're watching the AM Show.
Hello, good morning and welcome to AM Sports with me, Oreko Ampofo. Hope you had a fantastic evening, and we'll be starting off with some local story. And it was the biggest news coming in from the local scene yesterday. As Asante Kotoko did have that management meeting where they unveiled their new management ahead of their 3-year mandate, and that was led by newly appointed CEO of the club, Nana Yaw Ampunsa, where the club met not only to unveil the management but also to talk about plans for the next few years as Otumfuo, the board of directors and the new management try to bring Kotoko back up in Africa where they should be. And we should be checking at the Joy Sports page just about a few seconds, and yeah, there you have it. And we do see some keynotes from the unveiling of the management, and some plans that were put across, whether there's 4 new partnership sponsorships that have been secured in principle, and there's also a partnership with an English Premier League side. Remember, Kotoko already have one with Sunderland. They say that they have a new one with an English Premier League side with a very, very good academy. Also, the team would be pruned down to just 30 players for the upcoming season. 4 goalkeepers, 8 defenders, 8 midfielders, 4 forwards, 4 youth team players, and 2 extra players just in case. Also, an update on the Adaku Jachi, and that's the new modern training facility, would also be completed in 3 months. Some quotes also picked up from the CEO of Asante Kotoko, and he says that Kotoko have secured 4 huge sponsorships in just under 2 months of my tenure. There are many sponsors around who want to join, but the club must give them mileage. I urge the fans to help us offer these companies 3 times more than what they give to the club. He also continues by saying the board has approved for us to get an ultra-modern training facility at Adaku Jachi within the next 3 months. We are going to keep 30 players, 4 goalkeepers, 8 defenders, 8 midfielders, 4 strikers, 4 youth players, and 2 outstanding players, as I stated earlier. And then he also confirms that they are 90% through the signing of a partnership deal with an English Premier League side. We want to plug our club into them so that we can have the replica, if not the same, of everything they have here. From Asante Kotoko, we move to Aduana Stars, and let's talk to one of their big players last season. And he's been a key player throughout Aduana Stars, and they were top of the league, remember, before it was cancelled. And with the news that football is returning, it's now time to hear from their main man, Yahaya Mohammed, and how he's coping, of course, with no training. And now that football is coming back, what his thoughts are. Yaya, can you hear me?
So there we go.
Hello, Yaya.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm fine, yourself.
I'm very good. It's a pleasure to have you here. Let's start with the announcement from the president, a couple of days ago about football returning after over 180 days. How does it feel like to be able to finally do what you love doing again?
Hello.
Hello, yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so I was asking about, it's been about 180 days since football was cancelled, with the president announcing that it would be back next month. How does it feel like to be able to finally do what you love doing again?
Oh, well, it was very great news for all football fans and the playing body, because, that is what we are waiting for a long time, that the president will allow us to start training so that we can start our preparation towards the league. But it's unfortunately this COVID that is trying to protect the nation. So last week, when he announced that we can start playing football, everybody was happy. When some of the players, when you watch their status and their posts on Facebook and Twitter. You can see everybody is happy. So it was a great news for us to start preparation.
Okay. Speaking in terms of preparation, you have about 37 more days to the start of the new season. How are you personally preparing, and has your team Aduana also resumed training yet?
Well, the timing is very, very close. The timing is very, very close because we have stayed home. We have been home for a long time, and given the 30 days, because you use 30 days for a preseason, and you are using this one for starting the league because you train for 3 weeks. After 3 weeks, the last week you will train. So it's going to be very, very difficult. So if the TFA boss is hearing me, that they can push it in the middle of November so that we can use October to start preparation. I think 1 month is enough because the facilities here in Ghana is very difficult for you to use 2 weeks to do physical and other things. To buy everything because of the facilities. That is why I'm saying that. And it's going to be very, very difficult to have somebody to play a friendly match with because nobody wants to lose, nobody wants to get injured. So if they can give us 1 month for a preparation so that it will save injuries from the playing body because it's very, very difficult. Europeans, they have all the facilities, so they can use 2 weeks to do everything. So if they are hearing me, they can push it to middle of November. We are not in a rush to do anything. EPL, they just started. They are going to start Spanish League this weekend. So we are not in a rush. We have to do things gradual process so that we get best out of everything that we want to do. Because this upcoming league must be very, very nice and attractive to all the people that they want to sponsor to come on board.
Okay, fantastic. But let's talk about your personal ambitions. And before the league was cancelled, you had 11 goals in 15 games. And out of those 11 goals, 7 of them were scored at your home ground, that's Doma. What do you think would be the impact of, the president saying that now only 25% of fans would be allowed at the stadium? And do you think that a reduced number of fans would not help, your goal scoring, might possibly reduce it?
Well, it's going to be very difficult because you playing without the fans is different, and you playing in front of the fans is different. So I think whatever the president will say that they will reduce their supporters, it's not going to affect my performance. I have to concentrate 100% and get my goals. Because as a striker, everybody knows you have to get a goal. If you don't get a goal, you have to assist. So that is what I'm training for. And it's not going to affect me with supporters or without supporters.
Okay, and also in terms of your personal ambition, you were just one behind Victoria Adebayo, who had 12 goals. Do you think the competition would remain the same, and is that also your aim heading into the new season, to go past him and be crowned as the Golden Boot winner next season?
Yes, it's my target. The target has not changed. I want to win the Gold King. So no, anytime they will start the league and I'm playing in Ghana, I'm playing for Ghana. It's my target to win the Gold King. So that is my target. I have not changed any targets that I targeted last season. Maybe it will be more.
Okay, and also in terms of your team ambitions before you go, Aduana were on top of the league before it was cancelled. Would it be normal service resuming as next season comes in? Would you still be pushing for the league title ahead of the Giants, Asante Kotoko, and Accra Heart of Oak?
Yes, we will still fight for the league because everybody wants to play in Africa, and before they will announce that Ashgood and Kotoko will go, Aduana was fighting to play in Africa because we are the last champion that we won the league title, but it's unfortunately they use the the laws of the game to appoint Ashgood and Kotoko to go. So we understand. So if you want to go to Africa, what you do, you have to win the league. So that is our main target for Aduana Football Club. So we are still on course. We will start training as soon as possible so that we do our target. We set our target to win the league as well.
Okay, thank you very much, Yaya Mohammed. It was a pleasure having you here on AM Sport. So that was Yaya Mohammed, captain and striker of Aduana Stars, speaking ahead of the impact of the news that the president released a couple of days ago that the Ghana Premier League would be resuming next month, and also talking about what that means going forward for him and for his side, Aduana Stars.
Welcome to our Wednesday business segment of the AM show. It's proudly supported by EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank. So what's in AM business this week? Accra has the most supportive ecosystem for promoting entrepreneurship and startups. This good news comes from a survey conducted by the MasterCard Foundation with support from Ghana Tech Lab. So today we see through the lenses of Ghana Tech Lab to explore how young entrepreneurs are making the best of opportunities.
Ghana Tech Lab, being the implementer of this project, initiated by the MasterCard Foundation, we seek to embark on this project to help connect the dots with respect to the various actors within the communities to create a linkage of who needs what and how to get access to in terms of knowledge and resources for people.
Ghana Tech Lab is an ecosystem tech hub that offers competent digital skills training, seeding innovation, and growth of startups. We believe that building a stronger ecosystem will allow entrepreneurs and institutions to quickly find the knowledge and resources they need to succeed. This is one main reason we sought out to undertake this mapping program. Our holistic data collection led to key findings across the 6 pillars, aiming to describe the entrepreneurial ecosystem nature. These pillars were to aid in the proper segmentations of our engagements across 11 regions of Ghana, starting from the northern parts down to the southern parts of the country.
So our engagements, having traveled around the country for the policy pillar, centered on being able to identify various support services that the government is providing and how policy organizations are working to ensure that entrepreneurial ecosystems are thriving within their various spaces. And some of the key items that stood out were the fact that, one, the government is working hard to ensure local economic development committees are set up around throughout the country by the end of this year to facilitate local level entrepreneurial growth. Another key item that stood out was the fact that public offices, you have a minimum of 1 day to enjoy or get most of your services, and there are some you have a maximum of 3 months in order to get your services. The 3 months usually comes in when you're looking for certification for your products, that's through the regulatory organizations.
Generally, on the national level, it was noticed that from the shake-up in the financial sector in the country, it has deterred most financial institutions as well as investors from supporting startups and then local entrepreneurs. This is because of the fear of high risk of failure and then their default in payment, which is going to lead to bad debts for all of them. That's going to cause, in the long run, going to cause a strain on their institutions. It's going to also be a problem for investors. So with that, most of the startups, if they feel that your idea is not feasible enough for them, they are hardly supporting startups, which is given the growth rate of startups or entrepreneurs in the country, keeping them at a low pace. Yes, and then, but with the institutions that are still supporting startups, they have special loans given out to them. Some are also willing to give them mentorship programs, entrepreneur programs, which will help them, and then all the financial literacy needed for them to be able to venture into a business, or all the knowledge they need before they decide to go into a particular firm or industry. We're going to engage with international banks, local banks, rural banks, microfinances, savings and loans, local investors, venture capital firms, as well as fund management. For the international banks, we noticed that you hardly find them in some of the regions, especially in the northern sector. You find just a few of the banks, international banks, situated there, and as well as the local banks, but the rural banks are widespread all over the country. That applies to the microfinances and credit unions. It's hard to get angel investors or local investors because in the northern sectors and some of the other regions, because most of them are situated in the country's capital. So engaging with them on that level or the local level is a bit difficult because you do not get to locate them in their regions. With the venture capital, we got a few to engage with, but the dominant banks in all the regions were the rural banks, the local banks, as well as the microfinances.
We were able to engage with over 350 institutions through the various aspects from tertiary to secondary to worker groups. These factors identified runs through all the regions. We can see the same problems from the south to the north, east to west of Ghana. Thanks to the free senior high school program, there's a fast rate of development in the human capital pillar. We see a lot of people who did not have opportunities to go to second cycle schools now taking advantage of it to improve themselves. And this is really helping them. They are meeting new friends, they are sharing experiences, and they are working together to better their own lives.
On the aspect of culture, a challenge that the cultural institutions that we spoke to face is that culture is gradually dying out. That is, the unique Ghanaian culture is gradually dying out in Ghana, and because of the adulteration of foreign influences. And most stakeholders in the cultural industry that we spoke to were very keen on the fact that attention has to be paid to our culture so that we would be able to preserve culture for future generations. So it turns out to be that though the cultural influences in some of these regions affect business, the cultural aspect and the way of life of people was something that is gradually dying down.
One of the key things we really found out was the size of the popular businesses and the small-scale industries across the nation in the capital cities. So almost every capital city that we visited, we realized that the reason for setting up businesses was to just provide a means of livelihood. So we found out a number of provision stores. Basically on the streets, some businesses have been set up to just provide a service. So one of the key things we also looked at as the accessible market pillar was to try and identify businesses that have been digitalized. In the sense, they are IT inclined, they're on social media, they have websites. So we wanted to track that IT inclined nature of businesses. From our interaction, we found out that most of the businesses are not really IT inclined. They don't really have that knowledge about IT, especially in the northern regions as well. But when you come to Accra, it's a dominant thing. It's also something that is also growing. People are getting more on social media to advertise their businesses. And they don't naturally even need an office space. They can even operate on these mediums, these social media mediums. So that was one of the also key things that we also found.
So generally for the national level, I would say that there's less support structures for entrepreneurs or startups across the country, because majority are so within the support value chain, a typical example is there are a lot of skills training, but there's not, let's say, the next phase of the support. Example, to fund them to start their business or to give them the requisite support needed in general to meet up. So there are lots of individuals willing to do stuff, but they don't have the requisite. Against that background, we also observe that there are lots of repetition of ideas, that people just start something without having a blueprint in what they are doing. So when they get stuck and they don't have the drive to continue, they are more money focused than going through the process. So it truncates the process in that space. So within the space, a lot of development agencies are doing their best to create the enabling environment for startups like the GIZ, the MasterCard Foundation, British Council, and a few others to help in this space. But it's just for a period. So we also observe that most of the youth within this space also have a different mindset when it comes to entrepreneurship. So they need more support in terms of skills training in view to understand what the entrepreneurship case is. Because people are taking the entrepreneurship path as an escape route for looking for jobs to do. So more like, so we have a lot of aspirational entrepreneurs as against a purpose-driven entrepreneurs in achieving their set goals, whilst creating jobs for the multitudes.
And that's our AM Business this week on Startups. Now you know, and I hope that you picked a few things from there. You know where at least to get some bit of support. AM Business comes your way every Wednesday, brought to us by EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank. Let's stay with this because we're going to be speaking to the Ghana Meteorological Agency, the acting head of the Central Analysis Forecasting Office. Madam Felicity Ahafianyo joins us via Zoom. Madam Felicity, good morning to you. You've been watching this story and we want to understand the weather these days. What's happening? This is a bit unusual around this time. Madam Felicity Ahafianyo, can you please unmute yourself so we can hear you? Yes, ma'am. What are your initial thoughts in terms of the weather patterns?
Yeah, thank you very much and good morning to our dear listeners and viewers and to all the guys in the studio. I'm really, really touched because every year we always come back to this. And as a single person, it's becoming a concern to me, especially to our brethren over the northern sector. So I will applaud Joy News for this initiative. It's about time that we take certain things and try to find a solution to it. In terms of the weather pattern, the north, they had only one rainy season that normally starts by April and end in October. But then we have variations. At times it extends to first part of November, and at times so the rain starts late around May thereabouts. But then if you come to us at the southern sector, we have two rainy seasons. The first one starts somewhere around March and ends in July, and then we have the break in August that at times doesn't come with rain, but at times it comes with light rain or drizzle over the southern sector. Then the second season starts in mid-September through to October and then second week of November. So in terms of the pattern over the northern sector, they are still within their annual rainfall season, which whereas the 2020, they are going to end around the third week of October 2020 over the northern sector. So we are still expecting rain over those areas, but then the intensity will start reducing.
Okay. So in terms of even the intensity now compared to what we've experienced in the past, is it still normal?
For this year, the intensity, when I cross-checked from some data, 1 or 2 days, the intensity was not normal, was slightly above the normal. Some had recorded almost 100 millimeters, and some on a long-term mean, they are having around 80 millimeters. So in terms of the individual day events, some had slightly above the normal trend. But if you group all together, the rainfall has not exceeded the long-term mean that we are anticipating over those areas. But the problem here is the Bagri Dam that has been spilled off because it has a lot of volume, and the ground, the nature of the soil also is not supportive for all these waters to be soaked just like that. So it's causing all this havoc. So we need to find a solution so that next year, if the rains will be more and then the Bagri Dam will be opened again, it should not result into this type of thing again.
We want to go to Kumasi because we have some people there who had some concerns as well. We want you to take a listen to the concerns of some residents of Kumasi. They are also asking some questions. We'll need answers from you.
They should inform us so that those who live in marshy areas and the swamp areas will know when it rains and when it will end, so that they can gather their things and move to a convenience place, so that they can live without any difficulties. Because the government of Ghana have struggled to combat all these effects, which the rain for extensive rainfall causes. So they should inform us to know what we should do and what we are expecting from them. They should come out and say something to us, because during the olden days, it rains from January to March. But nowadays, the season has changed. So they should inform us adequately so that we can know what is going on and what we should do to combat all the effects that excessive rainfall brought to us.
For this, they have to equip their system so that they can capture how the climate is changing about. But for now, I have a farm at Sunyai. I used to go there every weekend. I haven't even sold my corn. And there's no any news or any information that the climate or the weather is changing. Today the rain will come, tomorrow the rain will not come. We don't even have that. I don't know how to explain it. Information from the meteorological services. And they have to be up and doing.
Okay, one thing that I think the Ghana Meteo should do is that at least we all know that June, July is when we experience heavy rainfall. So now that in September we are experiencing heavy rainfall, they should come up with some weather forecast so that we will know that maybe today there's going to be a heavy rain, so that you and I can know how to do our things so that we will not be stuck in that rain. You understand? So that is the best advice I am giving to the Ghana Meteo, because that is the reason why they are there. They are supposed to alert us so that we will know how to do our things and skip from heavy rains in our daily activities. So these are the advice.
Last year, during this June, July, rainfall, mostly the weather forecast will come out and then be explaining to us, be telling us, be giving us a hint ahead that when students are going out, when people are going out, they should put on they should, prepare for the rain. It's going to rain, it's going to do this, it's going to... So it was updated. But nowadays, we don't find anything. I don't know whether it's the coronavirus or everybody is... I don't know. So they should come out and then tell us at least something, especially the elders who are not much educated with the Google apps and all that, which will inform or update them. They are looking forward.
All right, so some concerns, observations from our friends in Kumasi. Madam Felicity Ahafianyo has been listening and watching, actually. Well, the concern from Kumasi specifically, they say it's been raining rather heavily, continuously. What's the situation, the Kumasi situation? What can you share?
Thank you, Mama V. You see, most of them are blaming us that we don't give out the information to them on time, or they've not been having access to it. But I will tell you that this morning I have to drive 2 hours to get to the office on time, and then to make sure that the forecast for the day is ready. Before then, those that close on night at 6 in the morning have already released the forecast for today as 5 a.m. And it's made available to almost all the platforms. We are on Facebook, we have our own website, we are on YouTube, we are on Instagram, we are on Twitter, we are now on WhatsApp. We have so many WhatsApp platforms, and it's open. Anyone that is interested should join. Once you make your numbers available to us, we will add you, and then you always get it. We have a platform for the media houses too. So every morning, every afternoon, every evening, we put all this information there. Now we have a weekly update too, so that Monday evening we tell you that between Wednesday, Thursday, we are anticipating rain over certain areas. Friday to Sunday too, we are anticipating rain, and we come back to update it. So from daily 3 times in a day, and then the week 2, 3 times in a week. And we have been trying our effort. Our lines are open. Anybody can call. Any radio station can call us. Now at today, the morning one is gone. We are preparing for the afternoon one, which will be ready by 11. We are done, and we share, and the media houses does not pick it up for them to hear. What do we do? There's nothing for GMET to do. We don't own a radio station. We don't own a TV station. We just have to rely on. And if we issue the warning to that a storm is coming, nowadays, Joy FM and some other media houses are also trying their best for us. Once we send the information, they send it, but it's not regular. You see, so we have a big challenge at Ghana Meteorological Agency, the forecast office, that needs to be addressed. And it's good that they are raising this concern. They should also make the effort and get to this, get the information and share with their families, share with their friends. As if you come to our office too, as forecasters, we each and everyone also have individual WhatsApp pages, so that once the information is ready, we add it so that our other people can also share, so that it is spread across. But then how the best effective way for us this information to go is by the TV, is by the radio. But then if we don't understand it and we don't have the time for it, and GMET, we don't have money to pay for the airtime, so that we tell you that anytime we have that information, just give it to us.
Yeah.
No, if not because of the floods and this thing, I believe journalists will not be calling us this morning for the forecast. You understand? So let's make an effort. Join us maybe before the start of the morning show. You can call any of our forecasts on duty, and then they'll give you the forecast for the whole day, for the whole country, so that for the next 24 hours, your listeners, your viewers know how it's going to be. You understand? And then a whole lot. And
yes.
I believe government is also watching, and government has to take a second look at our Ghana Meteorological Agency.
Yeah.
Somebody made mention of our equipment. Yes, we have a lot now, but we still have more to go, because the human resource is also, we are also understaffed here too, and we still need more. We need more radar, so that we'll be able to tell the public that the storm that is coming, the one that will hit Accra Central, will be about 100 millimeters of rain. So NADMO can also prepare ahead of time.
Okay, great. So what we do on our morning show, we do give out the weather, but I must say that we haven't been consistent. So we also have to, we have a lot more work to do on that aspect. But I asked specifically about Kumasi and the rainfall patterns. What's currently happening? I understand that it rained for about a week continuous, maybe?
Yes, sir. The minor season have started over the southern sector, and the weather zones have started descending. So definitely those in Bono, those in the Savannah, those in the Ashanti region, Oti region, they will be getting the storms now. And this morning, there is a rainstorm over the Ashanti region and part of the Bono Ahafo region, which the forecast has been issued in that respect. But then, as I said earlier on, the forecast remain on our social media platforms, remain on our table. So the Kumasi is cut off. We have Met Office across the 16 regions. We have about 22 synoptic stations that takes all the weather parameters. And then we have officers, district officers, we have regional officers in all the regions, before the 10 regions we have in all. So when you go to Kumasi, we have regional office of Ghana Meteorological Agency that are operating, and the regional director and the district director all go on air every morning to give the forecast to those stations. So we are looking at a way whereby we can bring in more, so that every time they can get, but then we are handicapped. We don't have the finances. If the media does not come in to help us,
we appreciate that.
We can.
Okay, I appreciate the issues that you've just raised. I guess sometimes also as citizens, we also have a duty to do follow-ups and check what the weather would be before we step out. You said the forecast has been issued for today. We haven't done the broadcast yet. So if you take the time to give us the picture for the entire country today, that would be good. You started off talking about Savannah and some parts of the Ashanti. You mentioned Bono. But if we can have a picture of how the country would look like today before we wrap up this conversation.
Okay, I can only, let me see, I don't know if I'll be able to share my screen with you.
But if you cannot, just, give us a summary.
Okay, for today, we are looking at cloudy weather over most areas of the country, with slight rain over Greater Accra, Aplau, and then parts of the central into the western region. And then those over the Ashanti region, we are looking at thunderstorm with rain for them this morning into the afternoon hours. And then some areas in the north, just areas around Boli and Wa, is also have a rain in the forecast this morning. But then by afternoon, the sun will break through. Then by evening, those over Damango, those over Tamale, Yendi, and then those over Bolgatanga have thunderstorms in the forecast for late afternoon into the evening. And then for the week, Monday, we came out for the weekly forecast for this week, and we are looking at some rain and thunder for the weekend, which is going to be a rainstorm that is going to move from Nigeria to engulf the entire country. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday this week, Ghana Meteorological Agency Forecast Office is still looking out for scattered cases of rain and thunder over all the 16 regions. And I want to add here that the season in which we are is not going to be every area that will get the water, the rainfall out of it. Some areas will just be cloudy, and some will have the rain and then the thunderstorm. So right from the coast, middle and to the north, from Friday to Sunday, Ghana Meteorological Agency is anticipating moderate to severe thunderstorms over the entire country. By Friday morning, we will come up with an update on it, whether the storm, and then be able to give you the very specific areas, the districts that will be affected. And I hope that we will try as much as possible to get it to join me so that we can relay it to your viewers and your listeners. For temperatures, temperatures will be mild today across the 16 regions, and it's pretty cool. But then if they are going out, they should go out with some umbrellas and some raincoats. Then I want to add, before, I don't know when we'll get this time again, but then the sun has crossed the equator and the rays will be much closer to us. So temperatures will also start picking up. After the rains, you see that temperatures will be becoming unbearable, especially during the daytime. And then towards October ending, the night time will also become a bit warmer for us. So let's keep this in mind.
Okay. Madam Felicity, we thank you so much for your time. Thank you for the forecast as well. We'll certainly keep our viewers updated. That warning about Friday's either rains or thunderstorm, we'll come back for some further clarification on that. But thank you so much this morning.
Thank you for hosting me.
All right. Okay, so that's the acting head of the Central Analysis Forecasting Office, the Ghana Meteorological Agency, Madam Felicity Ahafianyo. I remember readily, Kumasi, there is a thunderstorm. So rains in Kumasi this morning before the afternoon. You want to be cautious, just before you step out. Make sure you pick your umbrella, dress appropriately as well. It's going to be cloudy in pretty much a lot of the other areas in the country. But the sun will be out later in the afternoon. So dress appropriately wherever you go, whichever part of the country, have a cute umbrella in your bag. When we come back, we'll talk about the Ghana Green Building Council's celebration of the World Green Building Week. We'll tell you all about what you need to know on Act on Climate. Stay with us. All right, now let's talk Act on Climate right now here on the AM show. Let me introduce my guests who are seated in studio ready for this conversation. Mr. Foster Osai-Akono is board chairman of the Ghana Green Building Council. Also in studios, Mr. Kofi Isialapia, board member, Ghana Green Building Council. Good morning, gentlemen, again. Yeah, Thank you for being here. Why don't you tell us, first of all, about the Ghana Green Building?
Okay. Yeah, Ghana Green Building Council, it's a member of the World Green Building Council, and the mission for the council is to transform the built environment in Ghana towards sustainability through the way we plan, design, construct, operate, and maintain our buildings and communities.
Okay.
The council was officially launched in August 2011, and we've been very instrumental in policy direction, among others. We're key players in the development of the Ghana Building Code, which was launched by the Vice President in November 2008. And the role we played was we developed the part 37 of the building code, which is on green buildings, and is supposed to be mandatory for the issuance of building permit for construction.
Okay. So I have further questions on what you said, but let me ask Mr. Esalapia, how does a green building look like for the ordinary person who's had green building? Is it a green building?
Exactly. That is the interesting part of it. Really what happens is that green is a whole encompassing description. The building doesn't have to be green to be a green building. The key word here is sustainability to planet Earth. And there's no more significant color to use than green, to keep in reference to nature and to make sure that this whole vehicle called Earth that we live in is sustained. So there are certain measures that you need to take to ensure that this sustainability is achieved. And buildings have a very critical role in terms of making or unmaking the planet. And it's an incredible percentage of influence in terms of the use of the planet resources. And hence the reason for the development of the World Building Council to try and address these issues on the macro level.
All right. My next question is for you to tell me which buildings, if there are significant buildings that are green buildings. But I think readily I know one that you were instrumental in helping put up recently, which is the first isolation treatment center, the private sector COVID-19 fund.
Yes.
Okay. So what other buildings can our viewers point to?
All right, okay. So the first building that was certified as green building, which were very instrumental, Ghana Green Building Council certified it in collaboration with the Green Building Council of South Africa, and it's the One Airport Square, located at the airport city, which is about 20,000 square meter commercial office building. The building conserves a lot of energy. It uses water wisely because there are sensors to so water conservation is key. The ecological value is maintained. It uses less energy, among others. So the building, the indoor environment quality in the building is great, which helps to promote the health and well-being of the people within the building. They can communicate to the outside without the so when you go to the building and it's so cold, it's so cool. You enter the what's it called, the main reception, and you can see it through to the
Which
sky.
building again? Let me try and get my director to Google and see if we can appreciate the building you're talking about. So first of all, can you show us the isolation and treatment center, the one put up recently, and then this other building?
And then the One Airport Square.
The One Airport Square.
Yes, it's at the airport city. It's located at the airport city next to Holiday Inn Hotel.
Okay. Yeah. Can we have our homes also going green? Yes. How would the home like that look like?
In fact, the building code that I talked about has made provision for making home as little as 75 square meters as green. And some of the things are so basic. So let's talk about flooding, for instance. How do we reduce flooding?
You've just been talking about flooding just before this conversation.
Okay. In the building code, to reduce the concrete surface, the hard surfaces, because when it rains, the water runs off on the hard surfaces. And where does it go? That is where we have flooding. So 50% of the undeveloped land should be what's it called, soft landscaping. So when the water, when it rains, it percolates into the ground.
Okay.
Okay. Recycling. Okay. So waste segregation within the home, for instance, will help to reduce the waste at the landfill site. Okay. You segregate and then recycle those ones. Most homes, you enter and the first thing you do is to turn on the light before you can see, because the place is so dark. You can draw natural light through the sky into the building.
Isn't that, Mr. Esalapia, isn't that a bit expensive?
No.
Because, you know, we have to seek expertise such as yourself. And
yes.
Ordinarily, people feel like experts like that are expensive.
No, the issue is really a question of, it's not about expense, it's about value. And we need to start valuing our lives, because even simple things like indoor air quality can build up and eventually affect your lifespan. So what do you want? Do you want direction, or want to continue in that state in which everything is wasteful? Your energy bills are going up simply because you didn't open the windows at the right places. And we think that the expertise is available in this country, and we must all strive to work with persons who have the skill. And then that's across the various institutions. And the Green Council itself is readily available to support many things. Our clarion call is to make that visibility clear to the populace of this nation and to everybody that the world is not what it used to be hundreds of years ago.
We just showed the infectious disease center. This is it got the green certificate.
It did, yes. So what it does is it's energy saving in a very big way by the very nature of the materials that have been selected. In a building like that, where you need to have full air conditioning all the time, naturally you want to keep that kind of climatic effect in there, which doesn't lose the cooling that you're generating. And that's the key indicator for achieving.
Mr. Chairman, what has climate change got to do with green housing?
Okay, so buildings and construction contribute to 39% of the carbon emission. How do we reduce that? Use green buildings to reduce it. Using renewable energy, which does not emit carbon.
Okay,
so heading towards what is called net zero, which is very achievable even within our our setting. There are basic strategies just have to put in place. First, try to have a policy direction, and then develop the necessary documentation and see how best we can implement it together, not as Green Building Council standalone, but together with all citizenry. So I'm talking about the private sector, the public sector, and the entire citizenry. In Ghana, everybody is a builder. Everybody knows how to build. And that's the challenge we have. That's the huge challenge we have, even the elite think that, why do we use professionals to do our buildings? And you go to a lot of buildings and there was nothing to write home about. We have to act now on climate, otherwise we have no choice than to risk our lives and the lives of our unborn children.
I'd like to ask very basic questions. So if somebody is thinking about building, they're in the process of, what's the first thing, like how should they begin, who should they talk to?
So talking to an architect is very key, that's it. But you know, the question here is, so I'd ask you a simple question. How about paying 100 cedis for your monthly electricity bill instead of 1,000 cedis? You like that sound?
You have my attention.
Or how about paying nothing? So that can be achieved through careful design. Careful design where we introduce natural light, where we introduce systems that would enable you to go upgrade. That net zero, that's what net zero means, essentially. So that's a very attractive case for why we should go that way. And the expertise is, like I said, is available. Ghana Green Building Council is available.
So this is a council that somebody can just call or email and ask questions?
Yes,
exactly.
It's available.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what has trees got to do with this as well? What's the link?
Oh, remember when the last tree dies, the last man dies.
Yes.
Okay. What does tree do? We need oxygen. We breathe out carbon dioxide. The tree takes the carbon dioxide to reduce whatever effect it has on us. In addition, trees reduce the heat generated. What's it called? They reduce the hard or the heat island effect. So let's say you have hard surface and you put just one tree there and check the temperature against a hard surface without a tree. You see the microclimatic condition is changed. So that is why trees are very important for human beings. We thrive on them. They also depend on us.
Is Accra hot? Yes. So a simple tree action by the nation over a period of time can drop the temperature of Accra by a whopping 2 degrees.
You know, what you're telling us is a very great initiative, and I'm thinking if the state was on board, for instance, it would make a huge impact. So how much of a collaboration is there on that level?
All right, so yesterday we presented a letter to the president through the Honorable Minister for Works and Housing and calling on government to take action on climate. Basically, to look at the fact that we signed on to the SDGs in 2015 and they are to be achieved in 2030. We have limited time. When it was put together by the developed countries, they knew where they were and we were nowhere. And we say, yeah, we can do it. Now we have to double up. So to take the action now, not later, to look at the nationally determined contribution by countries. Ours, for instance, knowing very well that buildings and construction play a key role in achieving these SDGs, tailor the NDCs. I'm not talking about party.
The political party.
No, I'm talking about nationally determined goals. Tailor them towards achieving net zero buildings and communities in Ghana. Making sure that right from 2021, all buildings done by government, done by the private sector, and this, the assembly have to up their game. We can hold hands and make sure that we turn the built environment to a sustainable one. So we have 2 things that the government have to do. 2030 and then 2050. Okay. By 2050, most buildings, new construction, renovation, must head towards net zero.
Okay. But if we're going to achieve that, does it mean that the council must be involved from the beginning of the construction? Because, you know, we've seen a lot of...
You see, it starts with the planning. It doesn't start with the construction. The construction is the product of the planning and design. So all stakeholders have to be around the table at the same time for everybody to understand what it is. The financier putting his money where his mouth is have to understand that we are not doing this to, what is it called, to gain any other thing other than 3 basic benefits. Economic. So you save, you can use that money to develop other infrastructure. Then we are saving the environment for the future.
Posterity.
Then so, number 3, social. You see, when your health is improved, because you are in a good building, when your health is improved, the bottom line is your employer. The profit goes up because you will not call in sick, you will come to work regularly. So
this is on a larger scale. We've just talked about the states. How about us as individual?
Yes, individual. So he starts with that old saying that when the last tree dies, man dies. So even in your own home, by introducing trees, introducing plants in your neighborhood, along the streets, you start cooling the place and it becomes more pleasant to live in. But we can start, and you don't want government alone to take that drive. But when the populace is sensitized to understand the importance of these things, it doesn't take much to plant a tree a year. We're calling on everybody to be part of it, to be part of this, and to understand where we are going to. Ghana is blessed in a way, different from other Sahelian countries, which have the deserts creeping at a massive rate. If we wait, it will come to us, and we want to start today.
Sure.
And also for the individuals, I mean, at home, let's engage professionals to do our work for us. It's very important.
So listening to you, I'm thinking, oh, there are lots of changes that I could make to my own home. If somebody is asking that same question, is it too late to go green, even if you have a completed building?
No, it is not late. It is never late. Okay, it's not late. You can renovate your building. You can change your windows if you have saved some money. You can change your windows to double glazing, which will reduce the heat gain in the building and reduce what's it called?
Air conditioning costs.
Your air conditioning costs, among others. Okay. If you know that your hallway is dark, you can introduce natural lighting. It's never too late to do those things.
Okay, so let's end with your contacts and how people can reach the council with their many questions.
All right, okay. So you can email the council at info@gagbc.org. Our website is gagbc.org. Phone number, you can reach us on 024-432-2660. These are the basic information. We are located at Jowolu.
Okay, please say the number again.
024-432-2660.
Okay.
And then you can also reach us on 024-427-1077.
Okay. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time this morning. Thank you for helping us appreciate these issues that sometimes sounds very far from us. You know, you can only imagine, but you bring a lot of meaning to it. So thank you.
Close,
yeah. All right, stay with us. We've got the National Science and Maths quiz, the trivial. If you attempted answering, well, we'll know if you got it right or wrong, and we will tell you the stage that we're getting into. There is a report on this gentleman. Let me just start. He vowed NSMQ audience, or he wowed them last year with his regular quotes from the Bible before any contest. He once quoted Exodus 14:13 in reference to his opponents as Egyptians who will never be seen again. Michael Obeng, his name, with St. Peter's Senior High School, is back in this year's competition, as he was in second year then. Now he is in his final year. Maxwell Agbagba has this report that you absolutely must listen to.
40 schools arrived here on the University of Ghana campus yesterday, more than 40. I also expected to arrive today. But for those here, we've seen the likes of Prempeh College, we've seen the likes of St. Augustine's College, we've seen St. Peter's SHS, we've seen Wesley Girls High School, and quite a number of schools arriving here at the University of Ghana. I've been speaking to Michael Obeng of the St. Peter's SHS. Michael impressed the crowd with his biblical quotes before any contest. I've been speaking to him about the inspiration behind those biblical quotes.
So when we get on stage, the Spirit takes control. So we just see what the Lord leads us to say, and that's what led to all the scriptures.
Okay. At one of the contests, you were like, the Egyptians you see today, you don't see them again. And in the finals, it is finished. Were you led by the Spirit to see all of those things?
Yes. Then in every other contest, led by the Spirit.
Okay. Then what should we expect more biblical quotes this year?
I can't say because, well, you see, it's like the wind. It blows where it wants. So the Spirit takes me where it wants to take me. So I can't say. It's the same way I can't promise a trophy because victory comes from the Lord alone. So we'll see what the Lord will do. But we know that at the end of the day, His glory shall be magnified.
Okay. Wow. I mean, after the 2019 contest, I mean, your name was all over the place. 2020, your name has been all over the place. What has changed after NSMQ 2019?
Oh, quite a lot, honestly. A lot of favors have come my way because of the quiz, and I give glory to God for everything. But I know that there's more in store for us, for St. Peter's. And I also think we should also give a bit of attention to the other contestants coming this year, because I think this year will be a very interesting year because a lot of talent is coming. You know, boys from SEC, the Kumasi Anglican boys, a lot of very strong competitors this year. So we hope that it will be an interesting year and everything go on well. Okay.
Last year you missed out on the trophy by how many points? I think just by
a bit 12 or so.
Yeah. Tell me, what was it like at that point when you missed out on the trophy after working so hard to get to the finals?
It was painful. It was very painful. To be so close and yet so far. It was painful too, but it's birthed a new beginning for us. We went back to our drawing boards, we revised our strategies, we learned a lot of things, and we are back again. Hopefully he will give us the victory this year.
Okay.
Despite the pandemic, our teachers still were in touch with us, so we were able to train while at home. And then they didn't leave us. We were learning online and stuff. So we were still learning.
Okay. What kind of pressure is on you to deliver?
Not really, but as Michael said, we can't promise the trophy, but we can only promise our best on the stage.
Okay.
So what has been given to us, we put everything out on the stage, and we hope for victory.
The glory of the Lord will be made manifest this year.
Okay.
As my colleague said, we can't promise the trophy because we think this year is going to be a very tough one. Hoping the Lord will take control of everything. And then His name will be seen, will be praised.
Okay, sure. I've been speaking to programs coordinator for the National Science and Maths School, Stephen Yankee. He tells me that COVID-19 tests will be done, isolation centers also set up here.
Yesterday we had about 43 schools arriving. We are expecting another batch of 40 schools today. Once they arrive, orientation will be undertaken. We've set up already for the orientation, after which we will start the first batch of the COVID-19 tests that we assured our fans to that we're going to carry these out. So our partners are here from UGMC and Noguchi, ready to receive the schools in batches to start the COVID-19 tests. Isolation centers have been set up already, so that once the results come in, any who may test positive would go into these isolation centers around here and receive the necessary treatment for them to be reintegrated back into the competition.
Okay, great. So we see some tents mounted for an orientation. Any idea what will be talked about the orientation? This happened in previous years?
Yes, every year once the schools come in, we make arrangements for this orientation to take them through what they need to know, the guidelines in camp. And even this year, especially more important because of COVID-19, we need to educate them on how to conduct themselves since they are in camp. So very shortly we are going to start the orientation. We'll take them through where to find their dining halls, how to find their way on campus, how to interact with one another, and especially the COVID-19 protocols that will be observed. We'll take them through the schedule of activities. Tomorrow we will start our mentorship sessions 1 p.m. So we'll let them know how they can watch it live on our Facebook page, YouTube channel, and on Twitter. We are streaming those live. We'll talk about the tiebreaker contest that we'll have tomorrow in the afternoon, after which we'll ballot also in the evening at 5. So these and many others will be shared with them so that they know what to expect over the next couple of days. We also tell them about the orientation with the interactive boards. You know that from the 1A stage, the problem of the day is going to be done on the interactive boards that we introduced last year. So we have a number of them that we brought on campus, and we'll let them know where they can go and start rehearsing or practicing with these, because once we start on Monday with the 1A stage, they are working directly on those interactive boards.
Okay. So like I mentioned, more than 40 schools have arrived for the 1A stage of the 2020 National Science and Maths Quiz. And you know, we are in the middle of a pandemic, and as organizers of the National Science and Maths Quiz promise, Primetime Limited promise, there will be COVID-19 testing of contestants and all persons who will be playing some kind of role, you know, in this year's competition. That's exactly what is happening here in this room. So when the schools arrive, they come and register here, they sign their names here, and then they move to the next chair, and then the next table, then they get tested. I'll speak to the personnel, you know, here, and then find out from them what process they'll be taking them through. These are students and contestants from Adisadel College. Let me speak to those who'll be doing the test and find out from them how prepared they are to test all the participants. So you're welcome to join us.
Basically, we are here to carry on the COVID-19. That is the COVID test for the contestants here. So we are actually taking oral pharyngeal. That means we'll be taking the sample from their throats. We'll be sent to the lab for the analysis. That's PCR. This is not the antibody testing. Okay. Yeah, so basically that's what we are going to do this morning.
So roughly how many minutes is it going to?
This is not the antibody testing, so it's going to take roughly 4 to 6 hours before every test will be ready. But because they are majority, I think it will take a lot of time before we can finish with it.
So you just heard the team doing the COVID-19 testing here at the University of Ghana for participants of the National Science and Maths Quiz. Let me speak to the guys from Adisadel College. Adisco, right? You're a contestant? Tell me, Adisco, what should we expect in this year's competition?
Nothing but the best, nothing but the best. I'm just going to be top of the possible best.
Okay. Do you think you're winning the trophy?
For sure.
Okay. What's preparation like?
It's been hectic, but at the end of the day, we know where we know what we want, we know where we want to get to, so we know it's going to be.
Okay. Sure. Which your other contestant? He's the one standing there. Or him? That's him. Come in. Yeah. Oh, why? You don't want to talk to me? Are you hiding or what's your name? What's your name?
Ivan Henny.
Ivan Henny. Oh, okay, sure. Tell me, what should we expect from this school?
Started, and by the grace of God, we know that this year we'll be bringing a trophy.
Okay. What's preparation? What's preparation?
It has not been easy, but you know that our works won't be wasted. You know that God shows moving. You see.
Thank you. You're a teacher, I won't believe. Yes. Okay, sure. So tell me, what should we expect from Adisadel College this year? Last year you were here?
Yes.
Yeah. You were what stage? Semi-finals. Oh, okay. So tell me, what should we expect this year?
The best. Adisadel is a giant in NSMQ, and so we always learn from our mistakes and build on it. So we are coming with a good team this year. Okay. We've done a lot of trials. Some went well, some didn't go well. They gave us enough lessons to update our books and our contents. And we believe we have the best to present. But above all, we are here to have fun, learn from all other schools, and then make the nation better in science. That's all.
Nice. So what's the name again?
Kuntu Blanks and Edwin.
Edwin.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Okay, so you just heard it. The COVID-19 tests would continue, and we have participants from Adisadel College already here to do their tests. Reporting for Joy News, Maxwell Ababa.
It is finished indeed. It promises to be exciting. The stage that we're getting into, the elimination stage of the competition. We will get to know by close of day who is competing against who in this next stage that we're going into. But it's even more exciting with our trivial questions. Our coordinator, Mauli Jivanuri Manuel, has told me that He's given us very easy questions, but because we're also doing prelims, now that we're going to the elimination, the questions will be even tougher. But here's our question today that we asked. Why is it easier to walk on sand with flat shoes than high heels? Sounds very simple. There is an easier way that you can, bring an understanding to Ben, and there's also the physics way, because it's a physics trivial. So let's get to our board and let's get the basic understanding that I was hoping those who attempted answering the question will bring to bear. So the basic understanding of the question, if you read it, essentially we're looking at pressure. So let's use P to represent the pressure, and we know pressure is calculated by weight over the area. Let's understand the objects that we're dealing with. We said flat shoes. So let's just draw a flat shoe. Is that a good flat shoe? And then let's get the heel. Okay. Yeah. All right. So these are the objects that we're talking about, but understand also that this flat shoe is spread. Okay. That's it. And then this one, just by looking at it, you realize that the force or the weight is all here, unlike this one, where you'd see that just by looking at it is spread. So in simple words, it's easier to walk with flat shoes because with a flat surface, the weight is spread on a large area. But in case of heels, the entire weight is spread on the heel. That's one way to answer this question or bring the explanation. And as I have already said, pressure is directly proportional to force and inversely proportional to area. So as the area of cross-section is more for flat shoes, the pressure is less, and hence you feel more comfortable. So unless you're posing as a model on the sun wearing heels, try walking with your flip-flops on. That's just the basic way that I was hoping that people who attempted answering this will bring to bear. Pretty simple. Let's check out what you've been saying by way of answering my very simple physics question this morning on a trivial NSMQ segment of the AM show. Why is it easier to walk in flats or flip-flops than heels? Okay, here's this is Facebook. This is Mikiewicz saying this is due to pressure. Pressure increases when the surface area is small, less, and decreases when the surface area is large or high. Therefore, with flat shoes, the weight force on the person will exert less pressure, leading to the shoe not sinking into. Okay, let's see. Is there more? Not sinking into the sand when walking, hence making walking easy. For high heels, the weight will be acting on small area, hence the pressure to be experienced will be high pressure when walking, leading to sinking of the shoe into the sand, hence easy to work. That's absolutely true. Thank you. And Nana Kwame Dako says, this is not maths and science, this is common sense. Okay, so what common sense did you bring to the question? You just said it and you didn't say anything. It's not as easy. Bright says pressure increases as the surface area decreases and decreases when the surface area increases. So flat heels have large surface area and poses less pressure, while pointed heel, on the other hand, have small surface area and therefore poses higher pressure, making the shoes sink in the sand. If I get the same words being repeated, we will have to Google this and see if we get the same answer. Let's see, Yakubu. Oh, so, no. Let's see. A stubborn stone has not entered your shoes before. Okay, somebody's just absolutely making fun with this one. Yakubu says, it's so simple. Density is anything that can occupy space and has volume. Has this got anything to do with density? Famous one says it in simple words, it's easier to walk with flat shoes because with a flat surface, the weight is spread on a large area. I think that's the very basic understanding. But in case of heels, the entire weight is spread on the heel. As the area of cross-stretching is more for flat shoes, the pressure is less and hence you feel more comfortable. Okay, Mickey says, this is because the flat shoes are bought. Hey. Okay, this one says the posture of a person is distorted on wearing high heels, hence more effort to maintain balance as well as the inability to involve some muscles. Is this like scientifically Ahlija says the surface area of the high heels that's in contact with sand is very small, so the lower the surface area, the higher the pressure, which makes it difficult to walk with high heels than flat shoes in the sand. Mushim is reminding us that Jesus walked on water. What's the scientific explanation for that? Abubakar says pressure is directly proportional to force, inversely proportional to area. That's basically the same tune that I sang a while ago. So yes, I get it. You understand it. Okay, Jabless says some of the questions must be practical application of knowledge and not the chew and pour kind of. Okay, yeah, that's why we're making it rather very practical with some of the questions that we're asking. Yeah, remember Joseph said it's because when the sun gets into the heels, so you can't walk. That's why you can't walk in heels in the sand. But that's not the scientific explanation that we're hoping that we would get with this question. All right, so really pretty much that's it. I guess today's trivial question has been rather very simple. And if you're wondering, you couldn't make sense out of it, I hope that we've been able to explain it in a very basic way so everybody watching can understand. These conversations here on the AM show is just to keep you updated with the National Science and Maths Quiz, which enters the 1/8 stage of the competition. This is the elimination stage, and the balloting for that will be today. So tomorrow on the AM show will tell you who your school is competing with, and then we can talk about the chances of the schools that we will see tomorrow here on the AM show. We thank DBS Roofing Papa Pafie for bringing us the coverage of the National Science and Maths Quiz. Also, Adonko Hand Sanitizers and Adonko Next Level and Bright Senior High School in Kokrontumi. They make it possible for us to bring you the daily coverage of the National Science and Maths Quiz and all the conversations surrounding it. We'll bring you show business in a bit with Caddy. You're still watching the AM show. Please do stay.